So I'm here preparing for my big delivery of another 6,000 worms, and I think with 1,000 eggs, 500 Europeans, and 500 red wiggler eggs, or cocoons rather. And I'm here preparing for them. And I went outside. Somebody had cut down some trees recently. So when I first went out there, I realized the leaves were already so dry, they just crumbled. But when I went today, it already had rained. So my great idea was to just go ahead and put them in the oven and toast them. And the added benefit is that if there's any bugs on these, then guess what? Those are toasted too. So this is a way you can actually, avoid bringing bugs into the worm bin just by tossing stuff in the oven. So I have a friend of mine that works at the restaurant, bring me some scraps. So I got me cabbage, and family members brought me scraps. And just to make sure I don't have nothing on these, I am also toasting everything. Since there's fruit flies on those skins, don't have to worry about it no more. I got the cabbage. If there's any bugs, anything on any of that, all of that I won't have to worry about. So I'm literally toasting or just heating them up. Not cooking it, just heating them up to where if there's any bugs, it'll kill them. Because another way you can do this is to freeze the stuff. But I want to go ahead and put this in the fruit processor tonight. So this is my express way of dealing with it. Just go ahead and heating everything up before I process it. And I'm still going to freeze it. But this just gives me a double guarantee that I'm not going to have, gnats and stuff that probably laid eggs on those skins. So this is my new method of prepping all this food scraps for the worms, because I'm going to have 6,000 very hungry worms, and the 3,000 I already have is pretty much ready for another feeding, so they'll have some food soon. So I'm going to go ahead and finish crumbling these leaves. And even my cocoa core bricks, I think I'm going to put those in the oven, heat them up on my peat moss. I think I might sprinkle the peat moss over a cookie tray like I have in there and heat that up too. It just can't hurt to make sure I'm killing everything foreign inside of those before I actually make the bin. That way I'm starting with, a cleaner bin. Even though when you get the worms, whatever is on them, could also contaminate the bin, but I think I'm okay with that. The more I can reduce, the better. So I'm just gonna go ahead and crumble this all up, mix in some peat moss, mix in some cocoa peat. I got a lot of shredded cardboard, newspaper, regular paper, and all that is gonna make some really good bedding. I got a lot of pumice. I got crushed oyster shells, eggshells, biochar. I got all the good stuff to add in here. So these new worms are really gonna enjoy their new home. And of course I already have worms here, so I can just get some castings and inoculate all this good bedding well before the worms are here. I'm not gonna have a full week ahead, but the fact that it will be inoculated and it's a good mixture of browns, I think they're going to be quite happy, because worms love eating leaves. So this is going to be like candy for them. And plus all that other good food. Matter of fact, let me turn the heat off now and just let them sit in there in the heat. And if you're wondering, I don't have no knobs because I do have kids, and I found out it's a lot easier dealing with it when there's no knobs. You know, they're less tempted to mess with them. But look how that stuff crumbled up so easily. I mean, the stems, everything. So this is gonna be a good, you know, portion of my bedding. And all this is free, because Coco Core, definitely not free. Peat moss, not free, but I realized peat moss is very reasonable, because I could get 27 gallons of peat moss for about $10. So I'm actually gonna stock up on that just so I have it. And I was a little bit worried about storing it, but the fact that I'm gonna heat it up before I use it, I think it should be okay. So I might get 4 or 5 bales and just have it, because I think that's gonna be the quickest way to get bedding, because I'm gonna have a lot of shredded cardboard. I'm gonna let people know when they get their packages, you know, save me their boxes, you know, and I'll shred it and store it. And so the worms will always have bedding. And this is how we gonna start up this little worm operation. Right now, I have 3 bins, and you know, they're pretty happy in there. They are pretty happy. I got some nice big fat worms. So yeah, I would say things are going pretty well, and it's only going to get better. Got to get rid of these fruit flies, and that's why I have this cloth over there. It's a breathable material, and trying to keep these flies out. So I'm going to cut this one and put over that bin so all the bins are covered. But yeah, just a little update on how the wormery is going and how I'm preparing and having stuff ready for them. I have a lot of different things in these totes. All the different things that I use for the worms. I don't even remember what's in this one, but let's see. Okay, so that's some peat moss. So yeah, you know, anything could be inside peat moss. So yeah, I think it's a good idea to heat that up before I use it. And yeah, I save all these worms, eat all these papers. Let's see what's inside this one. Biochar. Now, when you add this to the worm bins, you know, the worms consume this too, but this absorbs nutrients. And when this is included in the worm castings and you put it in the garden or in your plants, this is like almost nature's time release, because whatever nutrients it soaks up, it's gonna slowly release it to the plant. So I have a lot of biochar, and I make sure to add that to every bin that I make. So that's a really good addition. And down here we have, okay, we got some pumice. So pumice I included in the bins because this gives a lot of air pockets, keep the bedding from getting matted down. So this is also a great addition. You know, these are not too fine either. It's a good size pumice. So I think that's an item I will always use. And then when you sift out your worm castings, the pumice will be left behind, and you just pretty much keep using it. And all of them will be inoculated too. So when you add them to a new worm bin, that will help to get things going. So yeah. Over here, what do I have over here? Okay, I have some azomite, and I have a decent amount of azomite. So all these minerals are really good for the worms. So, you know, I realize the more you add to the worms, the worm bins, better castings you end up with. What's in this one? Oh, Now that's some coca core for you there. So I have a few bricks of coca core, and I think each of these bricks, I'm gonna warm them before I expand them, just to make sure there's nothing in those either. And even when I do my microgreens, I might do the same exact thing. Just heat them up first and make sure everything inside them is absolutely dead. So got a decent amount of raw materials there. I got perlite. I have a bunch of other stuff too that could be added, but these are the main things. So that's it for now. See y'all later.